Hi everyone, today we'll be talking about Phaser, an introduction to Phaser. This is going to be the engine that we'll use in this course for our HTML5 games. And yeah, lecture content. So what is Phaser? Why we use Phaser and not something else like Unity or another HTML5 engine? We'll see. Then Phaser pros and cons, Phaser resources. Number 4 here for your project is gonna be essential, and I've put up some links as well, and I hope that you really try and visit those links, read some information, watch some tutorials, and whatever it is that you need to do in order to learn something new. Okay, then we'll do a sample template in WebStorm. So this is how we actually structure our projects in Fractal games. So yeah, I hope that you find those. So this template is probably gonna save you a lot of time figuring out what is where, which is which, where do you have to put certain classes types, where is the game initialized and so on. Because unlike something like monogame, when you make an HTML5 game with Phaser, you just start out blank, right? You don't have any files, anything, and then you have to add some index HTML, some other files as well, and we'll see how to do that, how to actually load load. It's not going to be a game, just a simple demo, but I'll show you now how to get started. And then of course you can use this template, change it to your specific game, to your taste. You can even change the order a bit, but we'll get into that a bit later. And then instead of me writing code, which for this specific lecture is going to be pretty useless, I would rather just go through one of the resources and just pick out a couple of examples, have a look through them, so that you can see how easy it is to just go onto the website and find something that you were gonna need, and use it in your specific game. Because Phaser is a huge engine, and if I had to go through everything, and I'm not even gonna pretend that I know everything, I know probably a very small portion of it, but as soon as I need something, I can just go online, and this is going to be the idea of point number 6. So let's get started. What is Phaser? So Phaser is simply an open source JavaScript. You can call it an engine, like a game engine or a framework or a library. It doesn't matter, but it's just something like a framework that allows you to do HTML5 games. So some of the things you could normally do and make a game using only the canvas, but this is something that allows for a lot more options inside, instead of just having circles and images and so on. This has a full physics system, not one but I think 4. We'll describe them, which is used for what and so on, which one would be more suitable for your game. It's developed by Richard Davey, who has been very active in the HTML5 community for years. So I don't personally know him, of course, but as I'm browsing through the forum, he's the guy. So as soon as he says something that this is the way to do it in Phaser, then you should probably trust him. If you see Rich, then read what he has to say on a certain topic that you have to search for. So yeah, okay, why Phaser? And this is a question that many people can ask. I'm sure that some of you have researched Unity, and now it's probably one of the most popular engines also among independent developers. It's easy. Making a 2D game is relatively easy. You don't have to bother that much with code. There's a lot of dragging and dropping. You can make a simple graphical demo which would take you probably a day or two with the canvas or just other game engine. It would take you about an hour, maybe less, with Unity, just because there are so many built-in functions, and you actually have an environment instead of just writing code. So yeah, this is a very common question, and I hope that I can answer it well. So Phaser is currently one of the best HTML5 game engines, offering lots of features, yet it is simple and easy to use. Okay, but this doesn't answer the next question: why Phaser instead of Unity? And the answer is that Unity currently does not support HTML5 games, so there is no way to port your games on the web. So something like a Facebook game, or just on a website where you can just put it in there. It's not gonna work unless someone downloads the Unity plugin for web, and after they've done that, it's fine, it works and everything. But I can tell you a short story about an RPG game which was developed with Unity, and it was huge. It took like 2 years of development, and about 30 people were on it. It's a huge world, with strategy and so on. So they've done it with Unity, but it was aimed as as a web game, sort of the ones like Imperia Online, something like that, something similar. And then they've done it with Unity, and it was a huge problem in the end, because only 1% of the people that entered the website installed the Unity Unity plugin, right? Because most people they don't know what that is, and they shouldn't know. And as soon as something pops up and say, well, to play this game you have to install something, they'll say, oh no, this is a virus or something. So about 1-2% of the people just installed the plugin and played the game out of the many that visited the website, which was a shame, because this was a two-year project with lots of investment in it. Currently in Unity 5 there is a WebGL option which allows you to publish on the web, but it's been problematic, or at least our experience with it. We tried to port a couple of the games at Zariba on the web, and it didn't work well. It's not just simple as publish for web and it's just gonna work. It's not like that, and it doesn't happen like that. So unless Unity makes some good way of porting to the web without the plugin, or just or if they fix the problem with WebGL, that would be fine. If you want to make web games. But there is also another thing, that as soon as you make an HTML5 game, you can publish it anywhere you want, on any device that has a browser. Like if your fridge or your washing machine, if they have a browser like a small display and everything, then you would be able to publish your game on that device. For example, imagine that you are on the plane, something like a transatlantic flight or something. There are these displays there, and no one knows what kind of operating system they have, and if you want to publish your game there, it would be weird. But if this display, it's like a tablet, if it has a web browser for some reason, or it supports it, then it will be very, very easy to just port it there. Of course, there are some problems, and I'll discuss them on the next slide. Also, the user interface in Unity, it's not that good. So I'm not a Unity dev, and I'm not a dev in general. But I've heard from the guys downstairs that they really don't like doing user interface with Unity, and it's a lot easier to just do it with HTML5. So the last course where we did simple HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, it's a lot more easy to just put a couple of buttons, make them click, go to a separate state in your game and so on. This is a lot easier than actually doing this in a real game engine. It's even hard to do it with Phaser, but you can do it with simple HTML. Just put the buttons in there, hover. You have everything you need, because JavaScript and HTML5 technologies are made easy for websites, and your user interface in game is just like a website, right? It has a background, maybe some animations with CSS, that is fine as well. You have clicking buttons, showing text, and so on. This is like a website, and it's very, very easy to do with HTML5, and it's I wouldn't say really, really hard, but it's unpleasant to be done with a game engine, and very rarely you will see a game engine where the UI is very easily done. So what you should do if you want to get into HTML5 games is, just do all of the UI with HTML5, simple JavaScript or TypeScript if you want to, using HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, and then only your game, your specific game, only there you can use the game engine, which has all of these built-in functions. And that's pretty much it. Are there any questions why we use phaser, or should I go to the comparison there? Right. Yes, please. I would like to visit the website that I've clicked on. And internet, please. Right, so I found this, as soon as you type in HTML5 game engines on Google, this is the first website that comes up, and this is, a comparison table of HTML5 game engines. And if you go to rating, sort them by rating, maybe again, you see that phaser is, pretty much third. And it's not that popular yet. It's relatively new. It's very actively in development. But what I find best about phaser is the community and generally the way you do things. You can do kind of a complicated thing in phaser with just a couple of lines of code because it's built in there. Right, it's not as simple as dragging and dropping as it is with Unity, but here just a simple line of code can fix that for you. So phaser uses pixi.js as its rendering engine. So some of the functions are similar. I've never used ease.js, but I'm sure that the guys that picked phaser in this company, they knew what they were doing, and it's really cool. And that's why we'll be using it. Now here is the time to say that as soon as you have experience with one HTML5 game engine, then it will be sort of easy to transfer to anything else. So if someone says like Babylon.js or Game Maker, or Cocos 2D is fine as well. Again with JavaScript, but it will be very easy to transfer from one to the other, right? So this is like a huge bonus. I mean that it doesn't matter what kind of engine you learn, because you already know a bit of monogame, and XNA, and now you learn phaser, and after that a bit of Unity as well. And after that, it wouldn't really matter what your company requires from you, because you will know, more of like the architecture, what you have to do, quality code, object-oriented programming, and how they combine in a single game. So I think the most important thing is not the engine itself, although this one is really good, but more the knowledge and experience that you get with each one. So let's go on to the next slide, which is pros and cons. So I'll first start with the pros. So it's simple, lightweight, easy to use, very well documented. Lots of features, a couple of plugins. So the plugins there are not that many, but the ones that are there, are fairly easy to use and fairly well written as well. So it has a great community, which I find to be the biggest plus for this engine, because once you search for something weird, or why doesn't something happen, there are I think 10,000, 20,000, maybe more topics in the forum that I'll show, and someone has written there, and in most topics which are a bit more weird, Rich has written something himself on the engine. So you can get help is what I want to say. So if you want to get help with something like XNA, it's very outdated, it's not being developed for many years, it'll be very hard. And from your experience, or at least from what I heard from you, it was really hard to cope with some problems with monogame, just because the user base wasn't that active, and it was kind of harder to find if you need a specific function, or make it work with monogame. I'm sure that most of you were also using some old tutorials from XNA back in 2010 or something, when you were making your games. Is that true? Anyone? Yeah. So some old tutorials. Right. There are lots of ways to learn phaser, so it's not just like watch this tutorial and that's that, or just watch this game and that's that. There are a lot of ways, and we'll go through them in a second. It's constantly updated, so I think just in the past month there were 2 new versions, and personally I'm very excited for phaser 3, which is scheduled. It was scheduled to come up by the end of the summer, but I kind of think that it's going to take a bit longer because there will be a lot of new features. The rendering engine is going to be changed from Pixi to something else, and personally I'm very excited to see what's going to happen there. I know that they work a lot on optimization and so on. I really want to see what is going to happen with that project. So it has some very cool plugins. I mentioned them. You can do so. Normally phaser is for 2D games, but there is the isometric plugin, so you can make something like a top-down game that is going to look fine as well. But you can't do 3D yet. You never know. Phaser 3D, you don't know. Okay, you can publish anywhere. This is something that I've mentioned. Even if your fridge has a browser, then you can publish it on your fridge, and it's going to be fine. It's going to be working. Depending on the processor and GPU of the fridge, it could be fine or not. You don't know, but it'll be this will be really funny. Just going to the fridge, taking a beer, and then playing on there, standing up for a while. It's gonna be fun. Anyways, cons. Scaling is not straightforward, and this is something that I really dislike because the way I made my first game was. So I set up the resolution to be something like Full HD, which was a huge mistake, first of all. And then when I wanted to scale to some different devices and so on, nothing worked, right? So scaling is a bit hard, and we'll see if I can do it, or I'll get some help from some of the developers downstairs. Basically, I would like, when I do my game, to make it for a specific resolution, say 720p would be fine. And then, I've placed all of the sprites and so on the canvas, and then after that, when they change to a new device, they would, resize automatically. And unfortunately, that doesn't happen. So I'll try to do what is normally done with percentages and so on, but I'll see if I can do that. I don't know yet, as I've not finished the game that we'll be doing. It's hard to build for mobile. Okay, again, this is an HTML5 engine, and if you write your game and put it online, it's gonna be fine. You can even put it online with the resolution that you want, right? So if you've done a 720p game, then just place it in the center of the page. It's gonna work fine. You don't have to worry about scaling, about different devices, about Android, iOS, different screen sizes, DPR, etc. So building for mobile is done with Cordova, and there it's a bit weird, and there are lots of bugs. Like the one that is most common these days is that once you play an HTML5 game, it doesn't use the GPU of the phone, so your processor's load is like 90% or something, or even higher, which means that it gets heated very quickly and drains the battery by quite a lot. This is a problem that I hope will be fixed soon, and we are very actively reading and trying out new stuff, both in Casualino and Fractal games. So as soon as we have a proper, easy solution, then I'll show it to you. Other than that, there are easy ways to build. It's just not going to be perfect. It's not going to be like a normal game that was written with Java for Android, or Objective-C for iOS. Sometimes, very rarely. So all of that, these two are not a problem of phaser. I think the above two, like they have nothing to do with the engine itself. They have to do with the fact that the technology is pretty new. Like making an HTML5 game and publishing it on the phone is relatively new, and there were lots of bugs until it becomes easy as click publish. There were lots of things to take care of. Okay, sometimes, rarely, the built-in functions do not behave as you would expect them to, and this happens really rarely. And normally, if you read online on some forums or something like that, you see a solution which is going to work. So a couple of days ago, I had a problem with the groups, and I found a magical function that did what I wanted it to do, but nothing else worked. So yeah, but it's very, very logical that it worked in the end, but I still have no idea why the others that I've tried didn't work. So sometimes, rarely, these things behave in a weird way, but you may never encounter something like this. Also, I'll be spoon feeding you all of the information with the game that we'll make. So we'll have tweens, physics, UI, jumping, animations, sprite sheets, etc. So there will be a lot of things in the game that we've chosen. So you wouldn't have to fiddle around with different functions and so on. It will be fairly easy to do your games, I hope. Okay. Any questions so far? Anything about the building or building the apps for the stores? Just any questions, if you have them, please stop me. Nope. All right, so let's have a look at the resources. I've ordered them by relevance, I would say. Maybe the forum should be one step above, but the first place that I'll look for is the examples on the website. So if we just go there, I'll show you what I mean. So it will be kind of hard to find video tutorials like the one that we're doing now. There is one for TypeScript that I know of, and I think another one appeared a couple of months ago. But in general, it will be very hard to find. It'll be very hard to find video tutorials for a phaser. But this is more than enough. So like these are all of the examples for phaser. And on the left here, you see, can you see? Probably, I'll zoom in a bit. So you can see the titles of each, type of feature in phaser. And there are 584 tutorials, and they're constantly updated as well. So as soon as a new version comes out, there is a demo here for it as well, like some new feature and so on. So let's see what we have here, and after that I'll get back to this, as we are going to be looking through some of the examples from here. There is absolutely no point for me to be writing from scratch when these examples are very short, and they serve always a specific purpose. So if you want to do something very, very specific, you can go in here. It's normally just a couple of lines of code, and then you can see how it's done and do it yourself. So we have animations, arcade physics, audio basics. Bitmap data is something that we'll look at today. Box 2D is another physics engine. So we have arcade physics, Box 2D, but I think this is an external plugin that you have to use. But since it's listed here, that means that it works really, really well with phaser itself. We have buttons, camera, creating stuff, debug, demo scene. Here are some cool, I think, demos and examples. Anyways, after that we have where am I? Display, filters, games. These are 8 games that are already done, and you can just have a look at the code. It's pure JavaScript, but you can easily transfer from one to the other if you want to. So this is Breakout. You have something like Space Invaders, I think, was here as well. There it is, and some other games. Very different kinds of games. You even have here, jumping and going around. Also, you can see some physics, etc. We have geometry, groups. Groups are really important in phaser. I'll explain why a bit later. We have input, how you handle input. Loader, and then we have 2 more physics engines here, Ninja Physics and P2. Particles are really, really cool. You can do a particle emitter. I think Ivo showed it last time as well, but there are lots of options, and it's very, very easy to do. So can you choose one? Maybe, I don't know, maybe this one, or maybe the rain. So this whole thing with the carrots and diamonds and some stars is done in these 24 lines of code, and the important part is this line and this line, these two lines. So it's like emitter that emits, particles and so on in 3 lines of code. Everything else is just, loading the images, creating the game, and so on. So nothing, very, very easy, I would say. And if we go into a more complicated example, you see that it's actually also very, very powerful. There are lots of things to fiddle around, alpha scale, random scale, just whatever you may need. We'll be using particles in our game a lot. I wouldn't like to share it now, but you know what the idea of the game is, and as soon as I start with the tutorials, you see where we use the particles and the emitters. Okay, here we have sprites, text, tile sprites, tile maps. We have time, tweens. Tweens are also really, really important and very well done in Phaser. Basically, if you're desperate, because I've been with Phaser when I started, if you're desperate, the one thing that is always gonna work are the tweens, right? They just work. Whatever you try to do and so on, it's very, very clear, very easy, and I'm sure that you will get around it. There was a problem with the tweens, but I don't remember what that was. It was something about callbacks, I think. On start it didn't work once, I think, but in general, they're very, very well done and very easy to do. Video, joystick, and world. So you see a lot of things here, right? If your game needs something specific, like how to add a sprite, how to add animation, you can also search here, animation. You get a couple of tutorials here, just simple examples. Normally they're quite simple, but that's the point. You're looking for something specific instead of having to look through a full game to see how something very specific is done. You can just browse it here, and it's normally something like that. It's just a couple of lines of code, heavily documented as well. Just to explain what you would like to do here. Okay, so this was the first one. If in doubt, or if you are looking for something specific, then just go to the examples page, and my second step would be to go to the forum. You can also look through the tutorials, so I'm just gonna load all of them here, and we'll see what's gonna happen. So, and it didn't work, so I will do it this way. Or did it work? Yeah, it did. Okay, it's fine. So these are the official ones. You can read them. There are quite a few of them. Different games and stuff. There were more, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, there were definitely more down here, but I don't know where they are. Anyways, I'm sure that you can find them. It's not just those. And there are also community tutorials, which are up here, and here you can see some games which are already either published or ready to be published. Just people are sharing quite a lot Phaser games, as you can see. If you need something specific, or you like a certain physics or something, you can just go in here, have a look. So this is the forum, html5gamedevs.com, and if you can see, there are 7,000 topics, and they are the most, along with the replies. They're more than any other game engine listed here, and these are pretty much the more popular ones. So yeah, here is the Phaser 3 forum. Mighty editor, I've read about it. It looks very, very interesting, but in our company, we would rather just use plain Phaser. But if you go in here, you make an account, you can always ask something, and here is Phaser WebGeo or Canvas mode, for rendering, and some nice people are always answering your questions. Right, there is phaser chains, but for some reason it didn't load here. Let me refresh and see if that's gonna change anything. Phaser chains. And it was online 2 hours ago. I've no idea what's happening now. I can explain you what that is, but it's really great. No work. Right. Anyways, it's not working now, but it's just, oh yeah, we get it. We got it. Come on. I trust in you. Loading phaser.js documentation. Maybe they're making some change. I don't know. Anyways, this is a website with a simple search bar where you can search for a function or something like animation, sprites, anything. But normally you search for a specific function like this.game.physics something. You want to check something with physics. You want to check something like the enable drag function or just any kind of function that you want. You just put it in the search bar and it shows you results both from the documentation and from the examples as well. So if you want to just see a simple syntax, how is this used, what values should I put in, or where should I put this, it gives you a list of examples that use it, or either something in the documentation. So very, very easy to do. I learned about this relatively soon, but the developer downstairs, he uses it every day, and it's really, really great. Right, and then the documentation finally. Normally it starts the other way around. Normally you would look at the documentation first, but this is just text, and I would love if I could see some examples, which are fairly simple as it is in here. So yeah, a lot of things here. You can just click or search for a specific function. So something like phaser, enable drag, and it should bring me here in the documentation, hopefully. Yes, and here you can see the properties that you can use. Short description for every one of them, and it's really full. Like most of the things, I think all of the things in phaser are here. I couldn't find the phaser creature in here, which is as of 2.4, I think, which I wanted to use for our cow, but I'm using something else now, so it's fine. Yeah. Okay, so lots of information, and that's really important when you start with a new engine. There are places to read, to ask for help, and so on. I think this is, very, very key when starting any game, any new project, any new engine. All right, now we are up for the simple phaser template. So it's gonna look a bit weird, but remember that this is HTML5, with JavaScript and stuff. But once you have the template, is like any other engine. So what I am gonna do now is something like the built-in template that you have for monogame. But again, this is very personal since we're using it only in our company. You can change it, you can do modifications and so on, whatever you want. So let's go into WebStorm, and I've opened up an empty project, which is phaser template up here. Do I have my zoom it? No, I don't. So let's it's down here. No, thank you. No, thank you as well. Yeah, works. So first of all, I would like to show you some things that I've done with WebStorm to make it look slightly better. Maybe it would be better to first create a couple of classes and then do it, or just a couple of files. So HTML file, index.html, standard. It creates you this thing. Let me zoom in. So yeah, so here something like phaser example. We also have some CSS, so link, this is going to be style sheet, and I'm actually going to create it now. So it's going to be sample CSS, that I'll have. So inside here, sample CSS, found it. And after that, as you know from last time, you have to add all of your files, all of your JS files in here. We don't have any, so let's go and actually download Phaser. So let's go in here, phaser.io, and I'll just download, then we'll import it into the project. Weirdly enough, in the newest version, there are a couple of mistakes, and Evo changed them last time as well, so I'll do the same thing now. Otherwise it doesn't compile well, it just gives you errors. So where do I download it? So I download it from here. I want to clone. Actually, I wanted to just take the zip file. Oh, I already have it. Oh yeah, he downloaded it last time. But anyways, let's see if he copied the files from last time or he let them here. Downloads, extract. So I'll just cancel that. I downloaded it last time, but as you can see there with the same name, and it was just downloaded a couple of days ago, so that should be fine. Yeah, a lot of things. Now is the time to mention, you saw that this zip was like 35 megabytes. If you would like to use Phaser, in your game, it's gonna make it relatively big, right? Which is not a good thing. So you can always use the minified version, and that's true for almost any JavaScript library. There is a minified version which uses shorter characters. It saves on blank lines and so on, and they are normally a lot. They are normally a lot less megabytes. So if we go to build, I think, yeah, so this is the phaser.js, which is 2.9 megabytes, and the minified one is 727. So normally you would use this one, and as soon as you're ready to publish and so on, you would switch to the min.js one. So yeah, let's get all of that into our project in here. Okay, and I guess we'll have to wait a bit for that. Okay, actually, since these are library files, I would just like to make a separate folder for that, which is just going to be called lib, and inside here I'll place everything that we've just imported. So I'll put that in lib. Okay, I hope that I don't mess something up. That would be really bad start for showing how awesome this is. Looking for usages, you don't really have to look for usages that much. Okay, let me pause. I just dragged these into this folder and it stopped doing something, so let me just pause. I'll get back to you. Right, so another thing that you have to do, since we are going to be using TypeScript, and I really don't understand developers that use JavaScript with this, because you remember the object-oriented programming from last time. It's really a bit of a nightmare, in my opinion. It's doable, it's possible, but TypeScript has all of these cool stuff that you would normally have, like inheritance, for example, in your games. So you go in here and you copy all of that and you put it into the lib as well. So these are the definition files. So these are just the definition files which say which function does what, and it's like a mapping from the JS file so that you can use them with TypeScript as well. You have the physics. This one is the physics plugin, which is built in Phaser. Definitions for Phaser, for Pixi, Phaser comments, and so on. Right, nothing that interesting here. So what else do I need to do? Yes, I need to include in my index.html. I would like to first include Phaser. So let's do that in the body. I never remember where should that be done. So source equals lib /phaser.js, please remember, because your game is not gonna work and you will wonder why, always include the JS files. It doesn't matter what you're typing, whether it's a class, whether it's phaser, just always put the JS files in there. Okay. So since this is a this is going to be a template, I would like to just put a couple of comments here and there. Adding a simple style sheet to maybe center your game. So if you need to, what did I do? Yeah, it's fine now. Also in here, always include the JS files, and the order really matters. So sometimes if your browser cannot load a file, maybe you've used it somewhere and you've not defined it yet, so the order of how you put your files actually matters. There are libraries that can fix this, but I don't want to go into details. Does anyone know such a library? I think required.js was something like that, where you don't need to order, you don't need to load them in a specific order, but I'm not really sure. Right. So someone from the unit says that you can do that with HTML tags. You can load files asynchronously. So how do you do that? Just out of curiosity, I don't know. For okay, something like a deferred. Yeah, I can check it out. Right, sounds interesting. I'll make sure to try it, but since I'm a bit lazy on doing that, I'll just switch them around if I make some mistakes there. But yeah, apparently there is a way without an external library, which I didn't know. You always learn something new every day. So yeah, so here like a simple CSS file. So if you remember, if you don't reset the margins and paddings on a web page, you will get something like this. So this is going to be your web browser, and your divs or menus or backgrounds, everything is going to start with a small spacing up here. And up here, and you wonder why is that. So I just want to put it at the very top left corner without any margins and any padding. So this is going to be a simple couple lines of code. So we'll do body, and that's going to be margin 0, padding 0, and maybe do something with the div as well. So div is gonna be margin auto and padding auto as well. Alright, one more thing that we need is a div that is gonna hold our game. So this is gonna be somewhere down here. I would like to say div, and that's gonna have ID phaser demo, I think is fine. So this div is going to hold our game, and we don't need to do anything else here. Just when we initialize the phaser game a bit later on, we'll just have to point that this is the div that phaser should use, because that should be camel case. This thing, the ID. I trust you. Phaser demo. Is that better? Okay. So yeah, I'm not web dev or a dev in general, so yeah, I accept any kind of comments on quality code, but now in C#. I think my quality code in C# is quite fine, but I know you say. Right, I suggest before we go on, we have a break. It's been about an hour, so we'll get back in a couple of minutes. Right, so let's keep going. So let's add our game file, which is gonna be game name, and here you have to change the name to your specific game. So let's create a module, but but first we have to give a reference to the phaser library, or the TS file that we are going to be using. So 3 slashes reference. Let me zoom in a bit more. Reference, and that's going to be, let me just, it's not this way. So reference path path equals, today is not my typing day, and that's gonna be lib slash phaser.t.ts. I think that should be fine. And anything else that we need to be using? Yes, but I'll add it later. Okay, so just a comment. This is your main game file. Rename to your specific game name. Okay. These are the references to all classes / TypeScript files that you will be using. Alright, so how do we start? You know, this is just now plain TypeScript. It should be fine. So let's start with module game name this way. And the first thing that we have to do is create you know, a reference to our game, or create a class that is gonna extend the built-in phaser game, and from there we can do, you know, our own game. So to do that we have to do something like class game name. By the way, this module, which was the namespace, you can skip that, but you know, if you have different modules, different namespaces, I'm just putting everything out there depending on your needs. So this is going to be class game name, which extends phaser.game. Right, and now if you can see, we have a reference, you know, this dot. No, it's just this, but yeah, I'll show that in a sec. Okay, what else do we need? We need a constructor, which is gonna take width, which is a number. They're optional, and height. This is also optional, and this is gonna be number as well. Am I doing something wrong? What is your problem? Missed constructor invocation. Oh yeah, right. So here, the only thing that we have to do is now call the constructor of phaser game, which is gonna pretty much create our game. So what we have to do is, you know, super, and inside here we have to say width. I think Control Shift Space is not working, but it should be telling me what I need to put in here. This is very weird. Let me pause this, because I think this is a problem with the recorder. Okay, so let's keep going. So here I have to give width, height, and here I have to specify how the game is going to be rendered. Is it going to be in canvas mode or WebGL? So you can do phaser.webgl. If you want WebGL, you can do phaser.canvas if you want that. But you can just set it to auto, and it's going to do it automatically for you. Okay, so what else do we have? Here I have to specify the phaser div that I have here. So phaser demo is what I have to type in. So phaser demo. And what else is there? Yes, here I have to specify the functions that I'm going to use. So create, and down here I'll have a function which is going to be called create. So if this doesn't make sense to you, it could or it couldn't. In the end, it's not going to make any difference, because you can just use that straight away. So here I can say create, and this is just what you have to say. Unresolved variable. This is going to be fine, I think. Later, if it's not, I'll fix it. But yeah, so this is everything that you need to do here in the constructor. So if you don't have width and height, it's gonna automatically choose what you want to do, or at least we'll make it so it chooses what you want to do. Actually, this is gonna be this dot create. Yeah, invalid number of arguments expected 1.
You should pass an interface to the base constructor.
I should pass an interface to the base constructor.
An object of the iGame config type. If you turn on the autocomplete.
Right, so this one was relatively quickly resolved. I mentioned earlier that there was a mistake in the current phaser TypeScript definition file. So to find it, I'll go in here, maybe. Actually, I don't have it here, so I'll double press Shift, and I'll say TypeScript compiler, or just compile all, so that I can see the mistake inside the phaser.js, and nothing happens, and I don't know why. So phaser, oh, is it? Yeah, down here. Silly me. And yeah, so right here, these guys should be, semicolons, as it says. And they are commas for some reason, and I'll leave it like that, and I'll try to recompile. So double shift TypeScript compiler, compile all, and I hope it's gonna be fine now without any errors which are gonna be problematic. Yep, we are fine. Now if we get back in here, it's still red, and the phaser still has an error. Let's have a look, and let's see what that is. Unresolved variable game. Let me fix that. This is definitely not my code, as you can see. I'll try to fix that and we'll see what's gonna happen. So what we did was file, restart. Where was that? Invalidate caches and restart, and now we don't have the error, but still, yeah, it's gonna show up. I'll show you why. So inside here in the settings, you have to do this for every project, which I was not aware of. You have to do something that was shown to you in one of the last lectures. So you have to do -t and then braces and ES6, so that it can actually compile. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And now when I press OK, and everything is fine. So yeah, this was my bad, not with phaser. But those commas were still problematic there. So it's not just me. So yeah, now if I delete something here, hopefully I still get this thing. So yeah, anyways, create this dot create. Yeah, today is not my day for coding. Yeah, it was earlier, but not in the evening, I guess. Okay, so in the create, we just need to add a state. So it's gonna be this dot state dot add, and we are gonna add preloader, and in here we are just gonna say preloader, and the next one, if you can see, is auto start. So I'm gonna do that, so it's gonna be true, and we'll add it as we go a bit later. So the idea, this is your game entry point, and everything that you do here is just create another state, which is gonna be called preloader. And in the preloader, you will have to load all of your sounds, pictures, etc., everything that you need for your game. Normally, if you don't want to do it this way, if you want to order it somehow better, say that you want to load the level files in a specific level.ts, then that's fine as well. Depends on your structure. So here we initialize our game by calling the super class phaser.game. Alright, add a state to preload all files. Sorry, all assets. And assets, those can be sprites, sounds, animations, whatever there is that you will need. Okay, after that, what is it that we need to do? We just need to just start. I think, just give me a second, just start the game. So we have to say window.onload, and this thing equals a function, a lambda, which is going to be simply just calling new game name, and here you can specify something like a resolution that you want to start with. If you leave it blank, it's still going to work, but let's work with some width and height for our game, which are going to be predefined. Alright, so now there are a couple of things that I want to change in my key maps that could be useful. So the first thing, actually, can we turn the lights on? At least the ones in the back. Otherwise you were gonna go to sleep very soon, I guess. I don't know. This thing, I don't have a class yet. I don't have the preloader class, so there is no reference to it and so on, so that's why I cannot find it. But I'll add that a bit later. So yeah. So last time, or the one above, the introduction for TypeScript in WebStorm, we showed this cool feature where you can type in separate lines. But in fact, right now this can only be done with the mouse, and I want to be able to do it with the cursor as well. I'm sorry, with the keyboard as well. So pressing Alt F7 to open settings, we go to key map, and editor actions, clone caret above and clone caret below are the ones that I want to change. So this is going to be I actually prefer Alt Shift and up. Here it says that it changes another function that's being used, but that's not true. The function, I'll show it in a second, is done with Control Shift up and down. But yeah, so this I want to remove it, and here I want to say Alt Shift down. Okay, these are just some additional things that you can do so that you can ease your work with WebStorm. So now if I hit apply and click OK after that, now pressing Alt Shift up, we can select as many lines as we want. And I wanted to do this for the commas that I had to change at the end of each file. Sorry, in the phaser file there were some mistakes that I fixed. There were commas at the end of the line, so you can easily select now this way and write on multiple files with Alt Shift. So what it said was that I'm actually changing the binding which moves the line up and down, okay, which is Control Shift and then up and down, right? But I still have it, I can still use it, but I'm actually using the other one as well. So yeah, another thing that I wanted to change, the what did I want to change? I wanted to change some of the colors. So I have to go to where was that? Was it editor, colors and fonts, and then I want to go into general. Because last time when I was looking at the lecture, I noticed that the comments and when a variable is not used are a bit too dark. So I want to change that now. So where is that? So this is the unused symbol, which I am going to do slightly lighter, something like this. Choose. Yeah, I have to save it first. So darker copy. And then I want to change this, and I want to say that to be a bit lighter so that we can see it better. And there was another thing that I wanted to do, language defaults was that. Okay, so line comment, I would like to do it sort of similar to Visual Studio, slightly lighter green-ish color. Let me actually copy the color. So it's this one. This I'm sure for those that are watching online this is fine, but on the screen here it's not that easily seen. The comments, because it's dark gray on gray, so I would like to change that also. Block comment as well. I want to change that. And I guess that should probably be it. Do I have anything else? Doc comment? No. That would be fine, I think. So apply, okay, and this should be slightly more visible. Yes, no, no. You want me to change it, or it's fine? All right, I'm doing it for you, you know. Also, anything else that I wanted to do? No, that is fine. All right. So what else? What else do we need to do here? Let's add the preloader class. Oh yeah, one more thing. Last time we wanted to show you how to surround something with an if statement or a for statement or something like that, and we couldn't do it. So this was done with Control T, I think. But the problem was that last time we didn't select something that was surroundable by if and for. So yeah, if you select something that is like that and press Control Alt T, then you can do if, you can do for, whatever you want. It's quite easy. Another thing that I actually wanted to do, and I will do it now as well, is on the key map, but I don't remember what that was. It wasn't on the key map. Let me pause this as I remember. Right, so I found what I wanted to do. So settings, then up here you want to say live templates. I've actually selected it. So for JavaScript, we want to add something like that. So right now you currently have ITAR, which is for the for loop. But since we are used to Visual Studio, or at least I am, I would like to change that to a for loop. So just add a plus sign, live template. This is going to be for. Just delete all of that as well. So for, then a simple for loop, and I'll just copy that from here. I'm only doing that because most of the people in the audience are used to Visual Studio and you know, for tap, and this is what that's going to do. So I just copy all of this and put it in here, and now it's going to be working. I also want to add one more, which is for if. Something else that I had to do, define here, and I wanted to use it in JavaScript and TypeScript as well. So JavaScript, sorry. Okay. A live template with an empty text has been found in JavaScript. Such live text cannot be invoked. Yeah, okay. So this one, now I want to create a simple if, and inside here, simple if statement, and inside here I want to say if brackets, and I want my cursor to automatically go in here. So that's done with a $sign, and here you have to say comment. Or sorry, not a comment, condition, which is going to be fairly cool, I think. So click OK, and now if I press for, tap, we have the for loop, we have the I here. So Control Z, just 1 second. So for tap, and now I can press I, and I can say this array.length, and so on. So you can edit your live templates from there that I've just shown. So it's fine. And then here the var, so something like ABC equals array.length, whatever you want. Also the if, but the if is, you know, fairly simple, and it's not working. I don't know why. So let me open that up again. So this is going to be in here if. Oh yeah, I have to define it for JavaScript and TypeScript. And I pressed cancel by mistake. So JavaScript and TypeScript, and apply this time, and then OK. And now if I press if, and you have your if there. So same as Visual Studio. All right. So let's get into the more interesting stuff. So we have to create our preloader class. So I would like to have a new directory which is going to be called states, and in here we are going to add all of the states for our game. So like preloader, boot, game, paused, game over, you know, whatever states you have. So new TypeScript file, and I am gonna call this, so this is the boot, and I actually want the preloader. Where is my preloader? Oh yeah, there it is. So yeah, this is gonna be called preloader, and zoom in a bit, delete all of that. And I'm gonna need some references here, so I'll just copy them from here. So this is gonna be in the preloader, copy that here. And what is your problem?
The dot slash. You're inside another folder. Slash.
Thank you. Okay, so I would like to copy that, and inside here I'll add other dependencies, but that's going to be done a little bit later. Okay, so what do we need to have a state? So module, this is going to be game name, and inside I would like to have a class which is going to be called preloader, and that's going to extend phaser.state. Okay, when you extend phaser state, you have access to the game object as well. So if I say something like this.game inside a method, maybe, so constructor, inside here I can say this.game. So you don't need to initialize it, or, you know, put it somewhere as a variable. You already have, you know, the reference to your game. Okay, so inside here, I'm not gonna have a constructor anyways. I just gave it as an example, but we should have preload. So since this is the preloader, here you can put all your assets here if you'd like them in one place. And how do you add an asset? It's relatively simple. I'll put it as a comment because I actually want to add the only asset that I'll use in another class. So something like this dot game dot load dot image, and inside here you have to give a key. You have to give a path to the image, and that's pretty much it, just to load the image. After that you can make a sprite out of it, give it physics, whatever you want, but this is how you load the image. And you can load sprite, you can load sound, sprite sheets, groups, just a lot of things that are in Phaser. Alright, so after that we have create, and in the create we have two methods. So the first one is going to be this.initStates. So in this preloader, I would like to load all of the states that I am going to use, and it's better to be done here rather than the entry point. So this is going to be a method. Also, I want to say this dot set scale, which is just a single line of code, but you know, it's good to keep them separate in the specific case. And I would like to say this dot game dot state dot start, which is going to be the next one. It's going to be called boot. Okay, so this is going to be another state, and there is your, say, splash screen, your logo, and so on. The preloader is only used for, you know, loading images and sounds and so on, as a structure. So in here, I would like to say init states, there, and it's relatively simple. This dot game dot state dot add, and we would like to say boot. Boot this dot game dot state dot add. Inside here I want to say game and game. Alright, and the one thing here is set scale. So this is a simple line of code that has brought us many days of pain and grief and crying, but in the end we do it in a completely different way, but you see this and probably use it in your game when you want to test something. So this.game.scale.scale mode equals phaser.scale manager dot no scale in this case. Normally we put it as either show all or resize, but to do that we need to have a separate class, and I'll show that in the game once we make it. But for the purpose of this demo and this lecture, I'll just use it as a null scale with a fixed 1280 by 1280 by 720, so 720p. So I'll just use it as fixed, and after that, once we do the game, I'll show you a very weird fiddly way of dealing with scaling later on in your game. Alright, so this was our class, which was preloader, and now let's add the other classes. Before that, let's make a new directory. I would like to call it game objects. So something like in our specific game, this would be the cow, this would be the butcher, and different types of objects that you have around your game. In our specific game, I added a separate folder which was called I think graphic utils. So I'll do that as well. Graphic utils. So if you need something which is purely graphical and it doesn't have like complicated physics or methods, just something like a button or a sprite or something which is not like your regular game character object, I would put it here. So sometimes normally when you have to create a user interface, you would have to do it by code in Phaser. You have to extend Phaser button, and it's always good to draw it yourself, with the canvas, if you want to think about it this way. So graphic utils, here you put something that you have to draw, normally as in canvas. And I put another one which is going to be called graphics. So here will be the graphics of all of the graphics of your game, like characters, animation, sprites, backgrounds, whatever you want. And right now I would like to load a simple image, which is going to be the logo here, maybe that one. So I'll put it in graphics, and I really want to change the name because this is too long. Zariba logo.png, and in the boot state, I am just gonna place the image so that we can see it. Nothing special. You can do something fancy, and it's not gonna take you a lot of time. But since this is just a template, then I'll just do that. So first one is boot, and let me change my sheet. Okay, so I still need a reference to Phaser, so I'll just copy it from here into boot, and the rest is pretty much the same. So module, game name, and class. This is going to be boot extends phaser.state, and inside here I'll have preload, and inside here I am going to say just this class. This is for your splash screen or logo page or whatever. Okay, so inside here I want to load the image. So this dot game dot load dot image, and inside here I need to give a key which is should be unique, and it doesn't have to be the same as the name of the image itself. So in here I can say logo, comma, and now I have to give the path, which is going to be graphics slash Zariba logo.png. Okay, after I've loaded the image in the preload method, so remember this doesn't draw anything. I have to do it everything else like initializing variables and so on. I have to do in the create method. So inside here I would like to say var boot logo, and this is a phaser.image equals this.game.add.image, and let's place it in the middle. I have no idea when I wrote that. So let's place it in the middle. So this will be this.game.width times 0.5, and also I want to say this.game.height times 0.5, and what else? And I need to give the unique key that I gave up here. So if I press Control Shift Space and I zoom in, you'll see here the key. You have a frame, so if you have something like a sprite sheet or something, you can set the initial frame. And this one is quite important. You can add it to a group, but we'll talk about groups a bit later. For now, since this is just a logo, just a single image, I'll just say here logo, and that should be fine. Now I'm not going to run it because there are a couple of things that we need to do. So first of all, remember this thing here where I had to add all of the files that I am going to be using. So this has to be states, and inside here I want to say boot.js states slash preloader.js, and finally states actually no, I need to say game name.js. Alright, one more thing before we start it. So I want to create a simple game class. So game state. So this would be where you put, so you can have a menu in between, you know, from preloader to boot to menu, then to game, maybe after that to game over. But inside here, let me just copy that because I don't want to write it every time. So in here, I would like to say module, game name again, it's pretty much the same, and I want to say class game extends phaser.state, and let's leave it like that. I think that should be fine and working. All right, so here it says cannot find name boot. Let's see if I can fix that. No, not right now. The reason is that I have to make my classes public. I think you remember from last lecture, this is what you had to do. So in here I have to say export. In here I have to say export as well, and in here say export as well. And hopefully now it still doesn't find it. Interesting. Yeah, okay, so now the problem is that I don't have the TS files as reference paths, and normally you can, you know, copy this change, but you know, with Alt Enter you can just say, you know, generate path, and it generates it for you, which is really cool. This is not gonna work for phaser. So the phaser one with the type definitions you have to do by hand, but everything else, you know, first of all, notice that it's, you know, it gives you an error, and after that you can just fix it with Alt Enter and then enter again. So let's see if we have any more of these. Actually not. Okay, in the create I also wanna say a couple of more things before we run the game. So it's gonna be boot logo dot anchor dot set, and I want to say 0.5 by x and 0.5 by y. So what this is going to do, normally when you have an image, you know, let's say that it's this image, normally the anchor is up here at 0 0. Okay, and I want to center it, and I've given it this.game.width times 0.5 and so on. But to make it completely in the center, I have to change the reference point for the image, or the anchor, as we call it, to be 0.5 by the x and y. Okay, is that clear? It's fairly simple, I think. Yeah. And yes, sometimes you want it to be at the top left corner. Sometimes you want it to be in the middle. It really depends on your game. So in our game, there will be an image that we would need the anchor point to be up here, so that we can do rotations and stuff. So if I rotate this now with this anchor point, it's gonna look something like this. And we want to have this kind of point of rotation, and this is just one reason for you to change the anchor. In this case, we just want to place it in the middle. What else do I want to do? I want to do this dot game dot time dot events dot add 2000, and inside here a lambda function which is just gonna change the state. So this dot game dot state dot start, and I want to say start game. Okay, so after two seconds of showing the logo, the game is gonna start. Sorry, the game TypeScript file, which is our state. So now hopefully, and I'm not even hoping for it to run from the first time, but we can always try. Index.html in here, and hopefully we'll get our logo on a black screen or not, and we don't. Preloader is not defined. Let's have a look. I have preloader here. Inside here though I don't, so Alt enter and then enter, and it appears up here under the reference paths. So F5, and we get the logo. So this was one very quick fix. I just can't believe it. Yeah. Okay, so there we have it. Currently we don't have the state, which is game, but yeah, we are gonna add it right now. Not here. All right. So is it clear what the strategy is right now? What the overall structure of the project is? It's nothing that special. It's very similar to the one in monogame, but instead of having program.cs, we have index.html, and we have entry points and so on. But yeah, so this is the important part. So this is going to be the whole template that you will use. And after that, it just starts your game or another state. But let me go through this one more time. So we have index.html. Here we just load all of the files that we will use. Remember the JS here. Sample CSS, you can do without it. Let me put a comment here. Sample CSS. This is used also to load fonts. So if you want to load a specific font, you do it as you would normally do with CSS. I think I've shown it in lectures. Does anyone? Yeah, I think I did. So it's the same thing here. If you want to use them in your game, there are a couple of ways, but this is one. Okay. So here, this is like your starting point. This is the instance of your game where you say new game. And the only thing that we add here is the preloader, and it's going to take care of everything else. So here, preloader. Yeah, remember here, phaser.auto. You can set this to WebGL or Canvas, or just leave it at auto, which is going to mean if the device supports WebGL, then it's going to use that, and if not, it's going to use Canvas, which doesn't always work because some devices think that they don't have WebGL, but they do, and so on. It's a bit weird, this thing. So right, so preload, put all of your images here if you want. This is a good practice. So if you have a game which has a lot of assets, you notice that at the beginning there is the loading screen. So this is what they do here. Okay, and here we need to create all of the states that we'll use. So if you want to add another state like game over, you have to say this.game.state.add, game over, game paused, or statistics, or practice, or whatever you want. So I just put that as a comment here. Add all states that you will use in your game. Start the first state. Okay, after that we go to boot, which is going to be just our logo, and after that you go to whatever you want. Okay, is the structure relatively clear? Okay, so you will have that, you will start with that, you don't have to worry about anything, you can just start straight away after, of course, renaming, you know, the game name to your specific game. But you can start straight away into your game and, you know, add the sprites and so on, which I'll show after the break. Right, so let's do our, you know, it's not going to be a game now, it's going to be a simple demo, and after that we will transfer to the examples. So we've done that, and the next slide is introduction to phaser with examples. I would only like to do the bitmap data, and I'll do a simple tween, but everything else after that is going to be done with the example. So I've already shown you how to make images, how to add them, and so on. The animations we'll look at a single example, and that is going to be fine. So what is bitmap data? Okay, bitmap data is the way to draw shapes in phaser, and you would be surprised to know that you already know how to do that, because bitmap data is pretty much the same as the canvas, or the way you use bitmap data is the same way as you would do with the standard HTML canvas that we've done in the last course. So what happens is, say that you want to create some kind of a shape, like a button. I'm not very good at circles, and here it's, you know, filled, and you have some text inside. So this thing you can do with bitmap data. So if you think, how would you do this? So okay, how would you do this with the canvas? So you've done some animations. Which functions would you use? So you have your canvas, you have your context. How would you do that? Okay, so we will draw an arc for the circle, then another one which is going to be filled. We have to start with begin path, then close path. We have to set fill style, stroke style, all of those things. Do you remember those? We have rectangles, lines, move to, line to, and so on. So this is your bitmap data. But the only difference is that you don't draw on the full canvas. You draw on a small, imagine a small canvas size, which is just as big as your button, or as you want it to be. Okay, but this is the same. So you already know how to do that. I'll just show you the syntax, and that is going to be pretty much it. Okay, so inside here I would like to say preload, and in the preload we have nothing, because we are just gonna, so we don't have an image. So this is the point here with the bitmap data. You draw what you want to appear on screen. And actually the blood in our game is going to be done with a bitmap data, and it turned out to be really cool and relatively simple. So I'm really looking forward to explaining you that. So then we have create, and everything is going to happen here. Here is the time to say that create. I don't know if do I have the comments anywhere? No, so I'll put it here. So create is going to be, so this is you initialize all variables, images, sounds, structures, classes, etc. here. Okay, so if you remember, in the boot we load the image, but we create it using this code. So it will be the same if here I have something like cow, which is of type cow, and here if I want to say cow equals new cow, then I have to do this here. So this dot cow equals new cow, or bunny, whatever you want. So yeah, this is where you do this, where you initialize it. This is like the constructor of the state. You can think of it this way if the other explanation was not good enough. So yeah, I've put a comment here, and yeah, I hope that this is, you know, clear enough. So let's go to game, and let's create our bitmap data. So var bmd equals, And how do you think we would load a bitmap data from the 2 lines of code that you know previously? How would you? It's similar, is my point. Okay, so this .game dot load, or add in this case, dot bitmap data. And okay, so what do we have here? Control Shift space, I'll zoom in. Okay, so we have width and height, so it's not the full screen as it was with the canvas. We have width, we have height, we have key. So this key is not like a sprite key, is the unique key that you use for your bitmap data, but I think we can skip that as well. So I'll show you how to do that. Add to cache, true or false, it really depends on your situation, but I normally just leave it blank. So this thing, we want it to be 200 by 200, and I'm not going to give it a key. You'll see why in a second. And you start the usual way, bmd.context dot, how do you start? An arc, a circle, begin path. Okay, someone was listening from a minute ago. Then I want to set a fill style. How do I do that? No. bmd.context.fillStyle. And I think this has to be equals, and I'll do a nice red. So F00 is the shorthand. If you want to do it the full way, it has to be FF0000 4 times. Alright, and maybe some stroke style as well. bmd.context.stroke style equals 0f0 hashtag. I've shown you the color picker. You can pick colors if you want to. Let's do that. So color picker without the U. So some kind of, so we have a red circle, so something like, I don't know, I'm really bad with colors, so I'll just pick one at random. So choose, did it copy? I didn't copy it, right? So anyways, I'll do that now. Color picker, and I'll choose that one, and I'll copy it now, choose, and I'll put it here for the stroke style. Alright, and after that we will need something like bmd.context.line width. I really love the auto complete here. It's really good. Equals 20. 20 maybe too much, but we'll see. And then we have bmd.context.arc. And if you remember, or if you don't, we have position x and y, we have radius, we have start angle and end angle, and if you want to anti-clockwise, but I'll do a full one, so it doesn't really matter. So in the arc, I've set bmd.width divided by 2, bmd.height divided by 2. We want it to be in the middle, because if it's not in the middle, what's going to happen and what's going to be shown in our bitmap data? So it's normally centered at 0, 0, right? So what is going to be shown is just a part of our circle, unless we center it in the middle. So what I want to do is just say, well, we're going to start in the middle of the bitmap data, which is bmd.width divided by 2 and bmd.height divided by 2. And after that, so the radius, let's say 50, and from 0 to math.pi times 2. Okay, and finally we have to do bmd.context.closePath, bmd.context.fill, bmd.context.stroke. I don't remember the stroke. Are they here? I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so now we have our bitmap data. We've joined. Sorry? It should be after the close path. This way? I don't know. We'll see. I don't remember these kind of things. So, anyways, we'll see. So now we have our bitmap data. It's fine, but we don't draw it anywhere. And to do that, we have to turn it into a sprite. So first you draw what you want to draw, and after that you turn it into a sprite, which then you can put on screen. So when I say sprite, you can also imagine image for now. There were differences. Image is the lesser one, so it has less functions. Sprite can be given physics. I'm not sure about the image. So sprite has a bit more things to it. So yeah, here in the game.js. So now I want to make BMD sprite, which is of type phaser.sprite. You saw here that I skipped it. You can skip it down here as well. You know how to use TypeScript. I hope it. You can write valid JavaScript code as well. So this has to be this dot game.add.sprite, and let's see what it wants. So x and y, and then key. Okay, and this key could be the key that I skipped here, so something like BMD, or I can just give the variable BMD, and that's gonna work as well. So it's gonna be where do I want to place it? I want to place it at, say, 400, and then the key is BMD. And what else? I want to say BMD.sprite. BMD sprite dot anchor equals dot set equals. No, sorry. This is 0.5, 0.5. You can rewrite this line in a couple of ways. You can use set2, and today I have no idea what the difference is. You can also do something. By the way, I copied the line with Control D. So Control D, you copy. With Shift Delete, you delete the lines if you want to do that as well. So yeah, you can use that, or you can do bmd.anchor.x equals 0.5, and you can do the same for the y. So it doesn't matter, all of these are valid. Basically you have the freedom to set it however you want, but this one is shorter and simple, so I'll use that one. Okay, let's see whether it's gonna work or not. And we don't change the state. No state found with the key game. Let's see. So somewhere around here. Okay, so we add preloader, and inside the preloader we add game and game. Yeah, the reason is that here, oh yeah, I start game. That's very interesting. Sorry? Rebuild. Okay, compile all, and we'll see if that is the problem. And no errors, which is fine by me. And F5. So waiting 2 seconds, and we still don't have the state game. So in the index HTML, oh yes, I don't have. Thank you. I was gonna search for that for a while. So game.js. And there it is. There is our ugly circle in the middle of the screen. But you can do some cool stuff with it as well. All right, and so after that, I would like to show you some tweens. We'll just create a simple tween, and after that, we'll go to the example. So what a tween is instead of having to do animations, or instead of having to go to the update method to move a circle, as in this case. So if I do, I'm not sure if that's gonna work, but let's see. So I would like to say BMD sprite. I have to take it out. So this is just an experiment how you would do it in other engines, including what we did with monogame. So inside here, I would like to say BMD sprite, phaser sprite, and I'll remove this. And I have to put, so Alt Shift down this dot on both lines. So yeah, now we have it as global phaser.sprite. Now we have it as as a property of my class, which is the state. So I can use it in all of the methods that I wish to. So in the update, if I say something like this dot bmd sprite dot position dot x minus equals 0.01, I would expect it to move, but I don't know, and it doesn't. Does it? So let's move it slightly more, like a 1. Do you think it moved? Yeah, okay, we are fine. But this way, first of all, your update is going to be huge, because normally when you make UI, there are elements flying in, out, and so on. And in the update inside the state, you would already have a lot of things inside. And if you have to define so imagine something like this. Imagine that you have a button. This is an example from a game that we have. Imagine that you have a button here, and you wanted to move it here, but not in a straight line, but some kind of a curved line. Okay, and this one with update, you have to think of a weird function for the position of X and so on. Then if you want to make an easing, which we'll see what that is in a second if you don't know, then that's even more calculations in the update, which are really unnecessary. So the tweens, and what they do is just move objects, or more like they don't move objects, they just change properties of your game object. So say that you have a sprite which has an alpha of 1, and you want it to slowly fade out. Okay, this is a property alpha of your sprite, and you can, with the tween, you can change this property in whatever manner you want. If you want that to be very slow, or very fast, or just start out slower and then faster, you can do all of that with the tween. So normally what you do is you tween positions, which means that you move the sprite or image or whatever. You change the alpha, or you can change colors as well, stuff like that. So just a property of your game object. So in this case, I will create a simple tween for the alpha, so it's going to become less and less visible. And after that, I'll just move it as well. And it's very, very simple to create tweens, and they always work. And it's going to be very funny if it doesn't work now, but I hope that it will. So var alpha tween equals this dot game dot add tween, and inside I have to give the object that I want to tween. In this case, is this dot bmd sprite. Yeah, okay, and then alpha tween, and we want to say tween this image 2, some value, so 2. Inside here I want to say alpha 0, and let's see what else we have. So inside we have, and these are very, very clear, very easy to understand and do. So we have duration, how fast the animation will be. Easing, which I'll show you a bit later on. We'll use the default one now. Auto start, delay if you want it to start after some time, repeat, and yo-yo. So yo-yo means going somewhere and back, just repeat it backwards. So let's do that. I don't remember them, so let's say 1 second will be fine. We have ease, which is phaser.easing.default, and then we have auto start true. Just 1 second, let me finish this line. Delay, let's say this like a small delay. Repeat true, and yo-yo. Yo-yo is true. Okay. There was a question.
So that 1 second is the period for which alpha should go to 0. The timestamp.
Yeah, this is the time span of the animation. This is the duration of the animation or tween that we want to do. Phaser, some weird thing happening here. Is it no? What is the problem here? I don't know. Maybe I've switched something. Phaser.easing.default. Do I have? Yeah, I have this. Weird. Let me run it. And if it doesn't work, I'll pause. But yeah, it works. So something with the type definitions or something. So yeah, you see how it went back. So it went the alpha to 0, repeated once, and then yo-yoed back. So if I just say yo-yo and this one is false, so this one was repeat. It's just gonna do it once. Actually, I don't know why it started. Do I have loop through true? Repeat is false, and then yo-yo is true. What happens if I do this as false? I'm a bit puzzled now. Wasn't the repeat a number? Repeat. Oh yeah, it's a number. So yeah, you were correct. So repeat 0 times. It's probably not gonna do it. Oh yeah, so it stopped there. If I say yo-yo to be true.
But it still compiled.
Sorry?
It still compiled, even though it was the wrong type.
Yeah, well, when you say what was it? Was it false? It was true, so I would assume true is 1, so it does it once. So yeah, if I say yo-yo equals true, then it's gonna fade back in, and you know, here you can say repeat many times. You can change the delay. You can change the duration, so something like that. So say 5,000, like 5 seconds. Pressing F5. Yeah, it didn't refresh, and now it's gonna go back again. What else can you play with? We can play with the easing, but I would rather just show you the examples. Basically, this is linear, means that it's gonna gradually go to 0. If I set something different, just 1 second, please. Okay. So yeah, if I set it to something different, say quintic.out. It's gonna do something else. So I hope that you can see that. So now you see that it's lower, and it's gonna start getting faster in the end. I don't know if you saw that. You see that once we start moving it, but yeah, let's leave it at the default now, and I'll show you the differences. So did you understand what tween is? Basically, you tweak some values of game objects gradually. Conditions like
if you go to 0.5 alpha, it will go back or something like
I can do it alpha 0.5.
that. That's not the point.
What is the point?
If you want to make a curve, so or a turn.
If you want to make a turn, like move the image.
Yeah, you move to the right first, and when you reach a certain point, you go down.
Yes, you can do that. I'll show that in the examples. Just remind me to do so. Basically, in here, I don't remember the syntax. Otherwise, I would show it here. But for the position, you just give a set of values to go to, and it's gonna go to the first one, then the second one, then the third one. You can even change if you can even do it so that it's not in a straight line from one point to the other, but it's more like a curve as well. So these kind of things are can be done with the tweens as well. It's really cool, and it works. So let's make a position tween. Let me just check something in here. Yeah, this dot game dot add dot tween, and inside here I would like to tween the the property which is position. Actually, I wanna tween the properties x and y of the position of the sprite. So inside here, instead of just this dot bmd sprite, I have to give the position as well. So please remember that, just to give the property right above the one that you want to change. Okay. In this case, alpha is a property of the sprite, and in this case, x and y, the values that I want to tween, are properties of position. So yeah, and we want to say position tween dot to, and inside here, I want to say x should go to, I don't know, 800, and y maybe 500, some change. Let's put it at 1 second. Phaser. Actually, let's make that 2. Phaser.easing.default, and then what was that? Auto start true, and delay is gonna be 0. I'll put that 0 here as well. And what else do we have? Repeat like 4 times, four times here as well, and yo-yo is true. So now it should work. It should go, yeah, to the right and slightly down. So now you will be able to see what easing means. So easing, you see that the velocity here changes the same way, right? So it's just at a constant speed. This one that moves, that goes to this point and then back. So if I change the easing here to something else, like I don't know, bounce. There was bounce, but I don't know if I have to give it in or out. Let's see. Maybe bounce out, and maybe make it slightly faster, or no, just leave it as it was. So let's see. That should work. The bounce is, yeah. So you see, it goes there and then it goes back with the bounce. So this is the easing. You can change the way or the speed of which properties change. Okay, you can fiddle around with it. So if you do something like sinusoidal, sinusoidal, I don't know. It will be something different. You have linear, quadratic. See now how it stopped in the end, right? Like I don't know, ease into the position. So something else, quintic.out. So out means at the end of the animation, in means at the beginning of the animation, and here at every single property you have in, you have out, and you have in out if you want it both ways. So in this case, let's say out, and let's see what the differences are. So I should expect it to slow down in the end this way, and if I give in, it should be the other way around. In, now just in. Yeah. Sorry, autocomplete? In out. Okay, I'll do that as well. In out. I'll show you a very, very good website for Tweens where you can check that. You know, there are good graphics on how the values change and so on. It's a really cool website. So any questions on Tweens before we go to the examples? Nope. Tweens are really, really cool. So you don't need to do anything with updates. You can just do everything with a tween. Tweening a color was a problem to us a couple of days back, because you can't just tween the value of a color because it's a string. So what we did was create two sprites, one on top of the other. One was invisible with alpha 0, the other one was with alpha 1, and then we just faded one out and faded the other one in, and it worked, and it was fine. But we did that fading out with an with a tween as well. So you can do pretty much anything you want. Sorry?
You can tween the RGB values.
Yes, that was a nightmare, and it didn't work as we wanted. So the suggestion was to take the color to make it into RGB because it's not. If you know, it's with the hashtag. Make it into RGB and then tween the values. But which values? By how much? Because you know, if you want to change from teal to purple, which values would you change? And they don't gradually change as well. So yeah, I think our solution was easier and better looking. And we tried the other thing as well, and it was a nightmare. Anyways, so let's get back to the presentation. So about Tweens, I just wanted to show you this link. So I have to do that, I guess. Which explains Tweens, and I don't see it here. Interesting. So GameMechanicExplorer.com, and here I want to search Tween. Huh, interesting. Just give me a second. I want to find it because this is a really useful. So they were under here easing functions, and I think this was made with phaser. It's interesting to see. Yeah, pixi. I saw pixi. Where's my console? Yeah, this was done with phaser, so they just show you the different types of easings. So linear means that the speed, you know, changes with the same speed. Meaning you don't have any acceleration. It just changes gradually. And inside here you have in and out as well, but I don't remember what those were. So for the linear, you don't have in and out because it changes the same way. Quadratic, so it starts slower and then gets faster by the end. If I click, it's gonna reverse and show you the out, so the speed. So something like bounce, I think, is the one that it's easier to imagine. This is bounce in, this is bounce out. Okay. Can you imagine changing alphas and positions and so on this way? Or should I go back to the demo? So let's change the alpha with the bounce. So here, let's make this shorter, like 2 seconds, and let's say bounce dot out. And you can do that for any property. It's not just we didn't see it.
Yeah.
Refresh. Maybe I should make it up to 0 and make it slightly shorter so that you can see it blink. Yeah, by the way, if you wanna refresh, you have to do it a couple of ways. So yeah, this is the bounce of the alpha. Let me increase this a bit so that they match with, you know, going in and back. So let's do that. Yeah, normally press F5 twice so that you know. This is yo-yo because it comes back, but you see how it sort of blinks. This is made by the bounce because you tween the alpha property from 1 to 0. But you get to 0, then you go back a bit, then you go to 0, then you go back a bit. So this is like the bounce, and it's the same for the position as well. So if you have like 2 points, one is here, and you want to move here. If you give it linear, then you know it's just gonna slide in there. But otherwise, if you give it like a bounce out, it's gonna go, bounce a bit, then go back, bounce a bit, and then go to the final step. So just like the bounce. If you want to make a proper bouncing object, that would be done with physics, but in this case, just tweening something to somewhere is fine. So yeah, you can have a look at all of these. There aren't that many, and they're pretty self-explanatory. So exponential is gonna increase the speed very, very quickly at the end. So it starts gradually, and then it increases it. If you've studied maths, these are mathematical functions, and the way you change the speed of your tween. So sinusoidal is kind of interesting. Elastic, I haven't used that one. I have no idea what it does. That's kind of interesting. You have back, you have bounce, and so on. So is it clear, at least for the tweens, what we do? All right, so let's get back to the presentation quickly. So you already know what bitmap data is. I mean, it's the same as canvas. You draw shapes the same way as canvas. Images, we saw how to add. The next one is animations, groups, text, and I'll just briefly mention physics. We won't be looking at any too hardcore of an example. So let's go into phaser.io. And examples, I'll zoom out and go to animation. And I've actually listed here some good, easy examples for us to see. So animations, we want to look at looped animation, which is there. Alright, so here is your character. He runs from right to left, and he has the animation and so on. And this is how you do it. So this function preload, imagine that it's in your state, the preload line, because all of the examples are in pure JavaScript, but we write in TypeScript, so it should be easy to transfer from one to the other. Okay, so what we do here is you have to load your image, and I'll explain what that does. So in this case, running bot.png is a set of like 7 or 8 frames for the running, but it's all gathered up in a single image. In a single image. So this is the key, which is bot. Then we have the path to the PNG, and then there is a JSON file which is created to describe where each frame is placed. Okay, you don't need to know. Is it down here? No, it's not. I'll show you how it looks like. JSON is pretty much a JavaScript object. We didn't go into details about that in the previous course, but you really shouldn't care. This is something that's all automatically generated, and I advise you to use something like texture packer. So texture packer. Texture packer. I believe it's free, and just as soon as you have the different images for your game, it's gonna automatically put them in a single file and create this JSON file that you need. And there is even here you can say export as a phaser JSON or something, and you can use that straight away. So download that. I'm not sure if it's paid or not. I'm sure that they at least have a trial version, but I have the impression that it was free. I don't remember. So yeah, this is the JSON which describes your frames, and simply do what we just did. So bot.game.addSprite, position, and then the key, add the animation which is run, and just say play. And this is that. Just plays it. In the update, we move it left as we did with the circle, so nothing special there. And we teleport it. If it goes out of the screen, we just teleport it right. And we did that with the snake in the first course, if you remember. So just a very simple line of code. We did that with the parallaxing background in the monogame course as well. So yeah, if it's less than minus bolt width, which is out of the screen, then just teleport it to the right. What else can I wanted to give you the JSON object so that you can see. So this is the same demo pretty much, but this is how your JSON file looks like. It just says, you know, every single frame from your animation, and you know, says the coordinates, routed, trimmed, whatever, and this is what you get. So you don't have to write this by hand. You know, it's just the texture packer here does it automatically for you. And I see that this demo was done with it as well, so you know, says it here. Right. You can loop animations. You can have, you know, different sprites. You can have different character states like running, jumping, and so on into the same file, and load them from the same sprite as well. And the only thing that you have to do is you say bot.animations.add, say run from frame 0 to 15. Then you can say idle from 16 to 20 and so on. It's in the same file, and it's really easy to define these animations. And then after that, changing from one to the other is simply play and then the corresponding animation. It's fairly simple. By the way, in here you can change the code inside here, make your the experiments, and then run it in here as well. So let's change this value. So just look at the bot, how he runs, and I'll just change this value by a bit and press here, and now it runs a lot faster. Right, so you can really tweak around with what's already given and just, you know, test around and see what's gonna happen. So yeah, this was the one that I wanted to show. There was a question about Tweens. Can you remind me what that was? You don't remember? It was something about going to different places, tween to different places. Conditions with the tweens. This is something different from what I was gonna show. So conditions with the tweens, you wanted me to show you how you can go from one point to the other and then go to another point and another point and another point, like different points, or that wasn't the case?
Yeah, but okay,
Okay, I'll show you this one, and then you will see if you can put it in your game. Combined tweens, I think it was that. I am not sure. No, it's not that, but here you can see some yeah, so if you want something to happen, so let's say that you have a button and you have a nice animation when you click it to go away off the screen. You want something to happen not when you click it, but once the animation ends. And to do this, you know, this is the same line of code that we had. So this is just this is just a tween to some values, and after that you have the onComplete add. And inside here you can put your function, whatever you want to do once the tween completes. You can also chain tweens. So once the first one finishes, then you can add the second one and so on. And I think this is what it's done here. So let me refresh and we'll see. So we have the moving pig with the bounce. On complete, we have the mushroom, and when the mushroom enlarges, then it moves the other way. So these are just chain tweens. On complete start the other one, on complete start the other one, and so on. It's fairly simple to do. You can have a look at it here. Right. So I wanted to say, I think that was interpolation. Yeah, I think this is what I hope you're asking. So this is a slightly harder example, but what I wanted to show was this line of code. So this line of code, you know, tween logo 2, you give specific sets of coordinates for the x. So first it goes to width, then to 0, and then to 0, and then you change the y as well. And it's going to go to these positions respectively. You can do that also for any kind of property. I can do that for the alpha also. I can say from 0 to 0.5 to 1, then to 0.7 and so on, and it's still gonna do it this way. Is that what you were asking, or was it something else?
No, I had something different one. Can you, for example, interrupt or stop the tween if some other property is meets some condition?
Can you stop the tween if some other property meets some other conditions? I would really say I don't know, but I would like to hear what you want to use it for, and maybe I can give you a suggestion how this can happen with phaser,
No,
if that
I
is
know how
fine.
to do it with a Bitmap, for example.
Hmm.
I was just asking about
Yeah, I would really have to hear your specific thing that you want to do so that I can imagine the tween in my head and then how we can. Yeah, okay. So after the lecture, I will help you with that. I wanted to show you text later on, but since we have it here, I mean, why not? So very simple. You just have style, and this is similar to what you would do in CSS, and then you just say text equals game.add text, where you want it to be, x and y, what you want it to say as a string, and then give it the style. So very simple. Just game.add, and then you can add sprites, sounds, text, images, groups, tweens, whatever you want. You can do with that, and you can even guess. I mean, it's gonna be there, right? Okay, what else I wanted to show? So groups are a bit weird, and it's probably one of the few things that I can't get used to. I wouldn't say that I don't like it because it works. It's a nice way of thinking about things in Phaser, but it's a bit hard to get used to it. So, what are groups? So every object that you put in your game, whether it's a sprite, it's an animation, it's an emitter, particles, whatever it is, it's added to a group called world. Okay, and the order in which you add these elements, let's say that you add images, the order in which you add them is the same order in which they are gonna appear. So let's say that first I'm adding something. Oh, I have to draw. It's amazing. So let's say that first I add this weirdly looking square, and if this is the first thing that I add, and then the second thing that I add is like a small circle inside, they're gonna appear exactly in that order that you've added them. But what happens if, let's say we have some moving sprites which are generated at a random time? They would be generated at the very end and would appear above everything else, right? Then this is a problem, right? And you would imagine that there is some cool method which just says, well, draw this at this very specific position, like a layer. So they're like layers. In this case, I have my rectangle here, and I have my circle here, and they are shown to you in this specific order. So you would think that there is a way to say, well, I want the new sprite that I've added to be inserted here, but that's not as easy to do. And what happens when you have a lot of sprites? Let's say you randomly generate platforms, trees, rocks, as they are in our game, mountains, and so on. They're always gonna appear, and every time when they appear at the very front of your screen, you would have to position them somewhere, right? So so this is where phaser groups come in. By the way, this says Z depth, or some of you may have seen Z index in CSS, I think. This doesn't work. Okay, you can't just say sprite.z_index equals 5. Well, you can, but nothing's gonna happen. Okay, and the correct way to do this is to have different groups. So you have the world group, which is here, and instead of adding your sprites and images and animations to the group, to the world, you add them to a specific group. So let's say that you have a group which is called backgrounds, right? Which is going to be at the very far back every time. every single sprite in this group is going to have its specific order. And every time when I create something new, as soon as I add it to this specific group, it's just going to stay at the back because that's the position of the group inside my world. Did you understand that, or I should explain that again? So it's very important, and this is what we will do. If you would like to, position your sprites in a weird way, if you have a lot of elements and you have to see some of them at the front, some of them at the back, just put them in some logical order inside a group. And then what's going to happen is you will have the world group, and beneath it you will not have like 100 sprites or something. You have two groups. So let's say background group, you have character group, for example, and every time when you want to hide something or put something to the front or back, you can just tween. You can just bring the whole group to the front if you want to change, their places, instead of doing it every single time. And furthermore, you can not only change the position or the Z index of the group, but you can also change the Z index of the sprites within the group if you want to, which is a lot easier. So something like the auto-generated trees that I was talking about, they are always going to be drawn here at the very front if you just add them to the world. But if they're added at the group for the background, which is my square, then they're always going to be drawn at the back. Yes? By default, everything goes to the world, yes. It's printed in the order that you add them to the world, yes. Everything in the world will be in front of the other group. So if you have like a group, you add and then you add 6 sprites or something, and then you add a sprite to the group after that, then this sprite is going to be in front of everything else.
But do the other groups you add specifically, are they included in the world?
Yes, they are in the world. And you change their position within the group. Someone asked me something. Can I? Okay, you were gonna ask that. So sorry?
You do this grouping on every single
No. You do it when something happens. So by something happens, I mean if you generate a tree, it's going to be generated at the front, and as soon as it's generated, you want to just reorder the groups.
By generated, you mean drawn or initialized?
By initialized. So let's say that you want to randomly generate some background elements. They're in the background, but they're randomly generated, so you can't do it at the beginning. Or you can, but it's a bit harder to just move the positions and so on with delays. So yeah, let's say that you generate by initializing, then it's always going to be at the top. At the front, right? If you give it a group as soon as you create it, then it's going to be drawn wherever that group is. Can you switch between groups? I'm sure that you can delete an element from a group and add it to another group, but there is no sense to do that. There is no reason to do that. If you want something to move from, you can do that with alpha, I think, with an alpha tween. But normally groups are meant as a group of objects with a specific order.
If I want to draw something like stories of a building, and I go under the first one and then over the second one.
If you want to draw a
If I want to pass under something and over something else.
If you want to pass over and under some, oh yeah, I got it. So yeah, you do something like this example that I've opened up, but you would really have to be sort of careful and fiddly about it. I go what you meant. So You see this character, so now he's behind. Can you see that well? And as soon as I move, he becomes, yeah, something like this. So this specific the example is done a bit weird. So you can sort the elements within a group with a specific sort method. So in this case, we sort by Y. So whatever, whichever sprite's Y is lower, it's gonna be at the front. And this is done with a sort function, which is just let me have a look. There it is. Group.sort by Y, and then you say how do you want to sort it. This is relatively new at it, I think, as of Phaser 2.2. I'm not sure, Phaser 2 or Phaser 2.2. And it's one way. I tried it for my game and it didn't work, but I found a magical method that solved all of my problems where you can just say, well, you will be here, and it worked. And I'm very, very happy that I did. But yeah, so something easier of an example. So this is how you make a group. Surprise. And enemies is your other group, and you can say straight away to the group. So instead of saying this.game.load or create an image, you can just say enemies.create. Okay, and this is going to create your enemies in your specific group. There is another way to do that, and this is the line below, which is friend and foe add, and you can add it to the so this is the group, and you can add your specific sprite to the group. Optionally, I showed you that as soon as you create a sprite, there was the optional parameter add to group, and I guess that is the easiest one to use, because as soon as you have a new sprite, then you just add it to a group and you are done. Just the whole idea of groups, I don't know if you've met in games, a way of like ordering things by Z, by a Z index, but that's how it's done here. It works, it's fine, but it's a bit fiddly at first, and it seems a bit tedious to just create new groups every time. Okay, physics. I'm not gonna go into any details, just show you a couple of examples. First of all, why do we have 4 types of physics? And you can use all 4 of them. So the arcade ones are the simplest ones. So if you have something like gravity or simple bouncing, actually let's have a look at it. So some angles, velocity, body enable, let's see what that thing does. Something like a bounce, so something like really simple. You can do it in most cases with arcade physics, and it's relatively simple. You just enable physics on the sprites, set gravity, set bounce, and that's pretty much that. It's nothing complicated as an example. So these are the more simpler usings of physics. The other one that is very commonly used and it's built in is P2 physics, which I cannot find. There it is. So here we have slightly more complicated stuff like springs, chains, and stuff like that. And this thing works really well. It's very smooth. I don't know if you can see that, but it works really well. And again, it's not that complicated. Most of the code here is just because all of these elements need to be drawn, and they are drawn specifically. But the magic happens at the very bottom. Game.physics.p2 create revolute constraints, and then you give it some values, and it works. Without this line of code, it wouldn't work like anything. I would actually like to comment it and run it, and hopefully I'm not wrong. Yeah, just physics and stuff. It's yeah. Again, it's really cool, fairly simple to do, and I'm sure that it's going to be understandable to everyone. So there was one team in the object-oriented programming course. They did the game with like shooting with how are these called? cannons. Thank you. Shooting with cannons, and I've actually looked the function for shooting, which was a quadratic, which was doing something like that. You know, it's fine, but here you can do it with physics in about 2 lines of code. Okay, it's fairly simple. You just have velocity, you just launch it somewhere, you give it initial velocity by y and x, and you're done. Your game can be done in probably less than 200 lines of code in Phaser, maybe even less. So yeah, weird things that you can do with P2. So normally, if you need something simple, use arcade physics. If you need something more complicated, use P2. And if you really depend on complicated physics stuff, you should use Box 2D, which I still cannot find. There it is. So yeah. So inside here, what can we show? Maybe this one. I've not looked at these because I never had to use them. So click to toggle display. No, I don't know what this one does. We'll look at something else. So I wanted to create something for our specific game, like a distance joint, but it turned out that I could do it with math in a single line of code instead of adding the physics engine. That was a lot easier. So yeah, you see now they're pretty cool. They work, and you know, again, it's nothing. Well, this one is a bit more complicated, but you know, if you have to write this by hand with joints and stuff, I'm sure that it will take you a lot more. What else can we see? Mouse drag. Drag is done very easily with Phaser. You know, just I would assume that this one now is very easy. I'll look here. So yeah, if it was just a one box, then we wouldn't have this for loop. Just start the physics system. You have the drag here, which is just a single line of code. Now just this is how you add the drag, pretty much. Yeah, it's fairly simple. You know, it works pretty well. And yeah. Okay, so I wouldn't like to go into any further details. I hope I explained the main structure. The most important things we looked at: particles, physics, tweens, adding images, sprites, sprite sheets, animations, and so on. You can have a look. So I would suggest that you go back home and look at buttons because they're, you know, used. Take a look at animations a bit more. Filters are nice. Particles are nice. Input is really important, and I didn't have time to look at it today. Input is somewhere at the top, so somewhere around here. Input is going to be quite important for your game, and it's nothing that complicated to make as well. Yeah, do you have any questions, or
I'm curious about the ninja physics.
you were curious about the ninja physics? So I deliberately didn't mention them because they are simple. They don't have that much functionality as P2, but they offer something more than the standard arcade physics. So yeah, the fact that it's called Ninja is pretty much nothing like it. But yeah, simple. Yeah, this is again, you know, simple type of physics inside, but nothing that special. So as you can see, there are only 5 demos here. For the P2 there are 38, and for the arcade there are 46. So you know, you can guess which ones are more used. Before you start doing your games, there is another way to draw shapes, as I've shown with bitmap data, and it is by using graphics. So it's pretty much the same: graphics.context.draw circle or something. But don't do that, because don't use graphics, because it doesn't work with WebGL. and it really doesn't. And just use the bitmap data, and that's that. It's gonna work wonders. Yeah. Okay. So any other questions? No. Right. Okay. So that was about it as an introduction. We'll have a pause for either a week or two. I don't know, until I finish the game, and after that I'll try to do it in a couple of lectures, depending on the code. There is a lot of trying out new things now, and but by the end I'm sure that it will not be that complicated. So yeah, that's it. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.